I'll text Yvonne to jump on the computer upstairs. Just make sure.
What's up, guys?
Good
day,
man.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Mixed Surfaces Podcast. Again, we're here in the off season, so we're always looking for fun things to talk about when the weather's cold. I know, Aria, where you and Jason have been, it's been pretty snowy and not too fun, right? It's been nice here.
No.
I haven't had to ride with pants on except for once. So
you don't wear pants when you ride?
I'm Captain Natural is what they call me.
Damn.
You got snow. It's fun.
Captain Natural. I like that. that.
No. Hey guys, well we got a special episode for you today. We're gonna get a little nerdier than we normally do. You know that the quality of content that Jason and Aria and I bring is not always the most technically sound, but we try our best. But we figure we know the right people, so we're bringing on a little bit of talk about suspension today. What you should know about it, you know, how you should talk to your bike shop about it, and we're doing that with an expert here. We got Justin Swede. Swede is what he goes by among some other names. He is, I think I'm going to dub you lead innovator in the back of the house there at Flat Tire Bike Company. Jason does the grunt work, grinding on the Huffies and the Schwinn's, and Swede is left to the fun stuff like suspension and maybe some project builds and things like that. But yeah, so Swede's been in the industry for 15 years. Has kind of seen the ups and downs, seen the innovations when it comes to bike tech and what everybody's riding, and probably has a pretty good way of making customers understand. So we're going to talk to him. We're open for questions throughout the stream today. So drop your questions in, suspension or otherwise, into the chat, and we'll be happy to talk through them. And if we don't know the answer, we'll make it up and you guys will run home with it, which will be good. But last thing, I want to shout out our sponsors. Of course, Flat Tire Bike Company. Not only do they help us out and help the community out by getting them out on cool bikes, but yeah, they're donating 2 of their best employees to the podcast today, which is always good. 2 of the 3. Yeah. And then, of course, World of Bikes up in Iowa City. Go there for all your fat tire bike needs. You guys got snow and ice up there, so it's time to get a fat bike and
nice shirt there. Graham.
Oh yeah, World of Bikes.
That's
World
a nice shirt. Yeah,
I got it all right here. And then, of course, Real and Nutrition, Olive oil, and then we'll be bringing on some other sponsors that we'll be announcing here soon, I think. But should we get into it, boys?
Yeah. I'm ready.
Nice. Well, Jason, I did a bad intro. Why don't you kick us off a little bit?
So, Swede, what's your biggest suspension problem that you see come through the shop? Like, what's the main thing people are coming in looking for?
I would say proper setup. What we see mostly is probably just, I guess, a lot of people are intimidated and don't really fully understand what all your dials and things like that are doing. But like what we're trying to do at the shop is just, I guess, get that good baseline with sag, and then get people set up from there. Getting that spring rate right is going to be the biggest thing, and then from there we can kind of start messing with clickers and moving those dials in order to get people and get that suspension, you know, how the customer would like it to feel or perform. So, yeah.
Dude, you just, so I mean, I ride bikes, I ride mountain bikes, but I mean, all the little rebound and settings still make me nervous, and I never want to touch them after they've like been in my mechanic's hands. But I mean, you just said it, like set the spring rate, like, what are the things that me and our audience and other riders, like, what do we need to know about suspension that makes it easier to have a conversation with you when like we bring a bike into the shop? Because like I bring my bike into the shop and I'm like, I don't know, it feels a little squishy, or you know, I just never know really what to say, like other than like following the service maintenance you know, docket, I guess you could say.
That's service maintenance is pretty key. That's very helpful. Like if you're not servicing your suspension, you're not getting performance out of it like you should. So like it's hard for us to properly set sag if your fork or shock hasn't been serviced in 2 years, and it's either too squishy or not moving freely. The stanchions aren't sliding through the lowers properly. So properly serviced suspension is going to be a key to keeping that performance up. And then from there, I usually try to have a conversation with our customers as far as get a better idea as like how you ride, where you're riding, and then what you're expecting or what you would like to feel from your suspension. If you said it feels too squishy, I mean, it could be spring rate. So we could start by checking that sag and making sure that everything's set up properly there. The bike's well balanced front to rear if you're on a full suspension. And then from there, kind of dial in your clickers. I find a lot of people just might not have patience for bracketing, which is very important and helpful.
What's bracketing?
So bracketing would just be we're going to write down base settings. So a lot of people will just start with like the manufacturer's suggested settings.
Put it in the middle.
Yeah.
Start in the middle.
Yeah, pretty much. I like to set people up in the middle if they're getting a new bike. When we send them out, we're pretty much setting them up in the middle. I tend to be running people's rebound a little bit faster than some people would suggest. I just found through running telemetry equipment and my the knowledge I'm getting from there is that a lot of that shaft speed on the rebound is too slow. So that's sending a lot of feedback up into riders' hands. So I tend to run my rebound pretty much full open on my stuff, just to keep that front wheel stuck into the ground. But it's all personal preference, though. I mean,
does that push up?
Not typically. I haven't found it to push up. I tend to run my suspension a little bit softer. Personally, I usually run under the manufacturer's suggested spring rate. I tend to run a bit more sag in my suspension, and then utilize volume reduction or my Manitou stuff set up with IRT. Olin's offers a really nice adjustable spring and fork in their fork. So I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to tune our suspension before we have to start getting into like shim stacks and revalves and things like that. So,
dude, I want to take you, maybe not right now, but at some point, I want to show you my bike and say, okay, well, this is the shock that's on it. This is the fork. And I want you to tell me what I should do, because you just like blew my mind on and went so in depth on things that, like, I mean, you lost me once you got past volume reductions.
That's probably
like, I understand,
a problem too.
So that's the thing, though, is like, we can talk about all this kind of stuff, and you obviously know a shit ton about it, but like, how do I have that conversation? Like, I don't know. Like, I get nervous when I go into my bike shop, and I even know the guys, but I'm like, how do I tap into this knowledge that you have and make you give me an amazing bike with good suspension? Like, how do I do that? What do you guys do at Flat Tire?
I think a lot of it's time. Like I said, suspension, in my opinion, requires a bit of patience. And I like to actually try it as much as I can. It doesn't happen with a lot of our customers, but I like to try to get out and ride with our customers. And that way I can kind of do on-trail adjustments for them, get feedback from them. So it can be challenging just because suspension's so it's like a preference. It's your preferences to mine could be different. So that's where like people might have a friend who has more money than he knows what to do with, and he just says, build it how you would, set it up how you would. and it doesn't quite work like that. My setup's not going to work, exactly the same for you, even if we're the same height and weight. If your bias and your arm length is longer and your weight bias is more forward on your bike or more rearward, that's going to change the dynamic sag of the bike and terrain also. So it's a lot of it, I guess, would come back your feedback. So kind of try to concentrate on what your bike's doing and what your suspension's doing, and maybe where you feel like it could be different. But I mean, the suspension starts at the tires, into the wheels, into the fork or shock. So tire pressures are really important. We run cush cores in our bikes too out here, just because we got some rooty, jabby roots. So cush cores can add an extra level of damping to suspension. And then with e-bikes,
every bike you guys are running, like mountain bike, has cush core in it. Like you guys are all running inserts.
Not all of us. Ashley, the owner of the store, she doesn't ride cush cores,
but she's lighter, I'm sure.
Lighter. I mean, she's probably 100.
I don't ride cush cores.
No.
You don't even use a dropper post, Jason. I'm surprised you even know what they are.
I'm like, there's no way.
I traveled overseas and learned how to do it at a special camp in Italy.
That's what sending me out there.
So sweet. Let me ask you this. I want to ask you this. So, what is a dead giveaway for like a simple thing for an amateur? You bought your mountain bike or full suspension gravel bike like yours truly. What's a dead giveaway that, all right, I need to get this a little bit more fine-tuned? Are there any weird signs?
I mean, so you're talking, did you say you have a full suspension gravel bike?
Yeah, or full suspension, cross country. What would be,
So you got to look at, I would say, so I'm running, all my bikes are 150 travel and up, even my hardtail. So I'm running trail bikes, just like to ride bikes and have fun. I come from a BMX background. So like I don't really race. I might do an enduro or a downhill race here and there, but I'm not serious about racing. I just ride my bike for fun. So like I said, I want my suspension to be as plush and as supple as possible, but you go to someone who's 140 pounds or whatever, and they're riding cross country. They need a more pedaling platform from their suspension. So, and you're also running 80 mil, 120 mil travel on those bikes. So it's kind of, it serves the same purpose, but it's a little bit different in setup. Like I said, it's going to vary from person to person and bike to bike.
He always told, and this is what really taught me something. When I went over to Italy, he told me to look at the indicators on your stanchions and on your shock. Look at that little ring that goes around one of your fork legs or something. He's like, you want that ring to be either at the bottom of the shock or at the top of your fork, whenever you're done with a ride.
So I worry that I go too far because every ride it's at the top or popped off the bottom.
Do you feel that you're riding terrain, like you're riding things that justify those bottom outs? Or
oh, for sure. I think a lot of so I live in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
I think a lot of our same mountains basically. So a lot of that rooty, rocky limestone, sandstone, like sharp stuff, but like a lot of rollers and things like that. So I'm also not a great rider, so there's that as well. And I mash over some stuff, but I do feel like it justifies it for sure. I'm not riding it's not like Iowa City. No offense, Uria.
No, non-teching, man, non-teching.
Yeah, but
just the right amount of level skill that I need on here.
But should you bottom out your shocks on every ride?
I mean, I don't, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to bottom your stuff out. Personally, I feel like people will set their suspension so that they're not bottoming, which isn't the way to go. I mean, that's why I asked you hitting terrain that you feel justifies a bottom out? And if you're going off 4 or 5 foot drops and bottoming your bike, then that's fine. Like, unless you're hitting, hitting bottom out, 60 times a ride, then I'd say you're doing well.
I guess I just never know. I don't know when it happens. I know it does happen.
That's a good thing. I mean, the technology in these suspension components is insane now, man. It's it's, if you feel bottom out, you're you're
pushing,
probably hurting. Yeah.
Well, I haven't broken a wheel yet, so saying that I'm if I haven't broken a wheel, I'm in a good spot. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And you paid for all that. I mean, you paid for your suspension, so that's what I was always taught. You're paying thousands of dollars for a bicycle with suspension components. So if you're riding it around in 50-60% of your travel, you're only using that much, then we need to make some adjustments and get you deeper up into the travel. That's I picked up some BYB telemetry just early last year. I haven't had a ton of experience to use it, but the times I have used it, it's crazy to see how high in the travel we ride mostly. I mean,
what do you mean by high in the travel?
So you're using 30 to 40% of your fork majority of the ride. You're hitting bottom out twice on your ride.
Okay.
And that could have been the terrain we were riding, just local stuff. But the telemetry is really teaching me a lot about just how to get people using more of their travel instead of once a ride or whatever.
See, those comments there, that really resonated with me whenever he told me this a couple months ago. You're not, you want to use all the travel that you paid for, right? And I was always wondering, I want to leave a little bit at the top because I didn't want to bottom out, and I always rode a harsher bike. But yeah, that's logical.
So if you guys could tell a customer to say okay, they buy a mountain bike, you're going to want to see them in 30 days, especially if they buy a nice mountain bike, because you want to make sure that, drivetrain set up, brakes are broken in appropriately. What are the maybe 3 or so tips that you could say to where that way when they come back, it's because it's beyond just the question about the basics of the bike, but we're getting into suspension. What should they be looking out for? Is it, my O-rings only go down to 70%, or I'm blasting them off the bottom and the top every single time. What do you guys offer? Or what should a customer do?
So I've been in making investments into so Slacker. They have a really sweet setup for real-time sag setup. And what I'm learning all this stuff just because I geek out on my free time. I'm watching Roselman on YouTube and all these guys who are just complete nut jobs when they're insanely smart. I think what's his name? The dude from Vorsprung is an insanely smart and knowledgeable person as well. And these guys, that's the guys I'm learning from. They're geeking out pretty hard on this kind of stuff. But as far as getting back to the customer, it is nice to see them come back. We've been selling quite a few e-bikes lately. And our customers are putting bigger suspension on them, doing things that would probably justify bigger suspension forks and utilizing more travel. A good customer of ours has put a new Fox Factory 38 on his bike, and he brought it back in, and I noticed his O-rings, he's probably setting at 75% of his travel, and just wanted to have a conversation with him, hey, did you move your O-ring? Is that where it was setting from your last ride? Where did you ride? Do you think you should have bottomed your stuff out? And he made the comment that, his fork was feeling a little harsh. He was having a hard time to getting it to, bottom out. And so I'd noticed that in some of the Fox suspension, some of their bushings were a bit tight, and they were creating causing the stanchion to bind, and it wasn't allowing the fork to telescope fully. And so with the Lab 7 stuff that we purchased at the shop, we're able to resize those bushings and get those stanchions moving more freely through the lowers.
That's
it
cool.
Just opens up a lot of small bump sensitivity and allows that fork to work through the damper. And I'm kind of new to it all, so I'm still learning. So any feedback I can get from customers is very helpful to me to help learn. And so in that instance, we were able to get his fork feeling how it should have felt out of the box for a $1,200 suspension fork. His damping was wide open. He had his high speed and low speed damping the whole way open.
So there was clearly something going on beyond like the
yeah. And we did a sag. His sag was set properly, but he's still like, even with me, I was just purposefully trying to bottom the suspension, or at least get it to move through more than 70 to 75% of travel, and it just wasn't happening. So that's when I was like, hey, can we pull those lowers off that fork and just run the sizing tool through there and resize those bushings for him. And it ended up really helping that, bringing that fork to life and allowing it to work how it actually should. So
it's pretty cool.
It works. I've felt the bike before and after, and it, for someone that's not a nerd on suspension, it really made it. I mean, you go from feeling like you feel a fork, and like, oh man, brand new fork, this is great, but you go from feeling that, you could kind of tell if you're thinking about, there's a little bit of stick maybe,
right?
And then you go after that, and it's like, it's just like butter the whole way through the stroke.
That's what I find with suspension and tire pressure is that I know it's not good, but when it's wrong, but I really don't always know what to do. And then I get lucky and I figure out the settings, and it feels amazing.
Yeah.
And like, I wish I just had a little guardian angel, like Swede, you should just like be on my shoulder being like, hey, drop the pressure, up the rebound a little bit, Hey, well, switching gears a little bit. So Krebs Cycle Calamity dropped in a question. So looks like has a background in BMX and BMX vert. So knows how to jump, knows how to pop, but just started riding mountain bike, and the gravity stuff is scaring him a bit because he's getting bucked into the dead sailor. So he's wondering if there's too much rebound. Maybe Swede. What are your thoughts? A guy coming from rigid bikes knows how to jump, but like, there's a technique difference in how to jump a suspension bike. But what are your thoughts?
I would say maybe low speed compression in your front fork if you have that adjustment. Maybe a low speed compression in the front to keep that bike setting more evenly into the jump face, or even maybe open up your low speed in the rear. Try to get the front and rear a little more balanced. It sounds to me like maybe your rebound on the rear could be a touch fast, but to me that just indicates maybe that the forks maybe diving a bit, and the bike's when you're pushing into that jump face, the fork's going deeper into the travel than the rear shock, so it's causing you to be a little imbalanced off of your jump face there. So like if you add some low speed compression into that fork, it should hold that fork higher up in the travel and allow your bike to go off a jump face a little bit more evenly. That would just be a guess, but like
Okay. Swede, in a layman's term, please tell us what rebound is. Layman's term. For a guy like me, I love to ride bikes. I'm terrible with bike terminology. But I feel like after having all this conversation, we've been talking about suspension in the last few episodes, and I'm like, I need to make sure that all my bikes are tuned perfectly. But obviously, you have to know some of those words, and stuff. So please, what is rebound?
That's considered to be the speed at which that suspension component returns to its sag, to your sag, and like where your sag would be set. Too fast a rebound is going to cause the bike to maybe be more pogo-y, like Jason was saying. You might get a little more feedback into the hands. Like Krebs said, it might buck you too, but I find often that, rebound, to me, I set it pretty fast. I mean, I am really fast. I need fast to set. No, a rebound is just how fast that that suspension component wants to rebound back to or go back into its sag point. So, and that's all going to be determined on your spring rate. Like spring rate affects rebound. Compression is probably on the other end where it's going to be more for ride feel, where rebound needs to be set pretty close to within a certain proximity of spring rate. So I weigh 200 pounds. I don't know if you weigh 150 pounds, you're running less spring rate. So you probably are gonna end up running less rebound, or a little less rebound, just to get your stuff to go back to where it should a little faster.
So you mentioned two things: spring rate and sag. Please enlighten me on both.
So sag is determined by your spring rate. Body weight and bike weight and things like that are going to come into effect in determining sag. So we need to set the spring rate. So whether that's through an air spring or a coil spring, and I would imagine you guys know the difference between a coil and an air sprung suspension component. And that's kind of the nice thing with air is it's really adjustable down to the pound, where coils aren't quite as adjustable. But Sprindex makes a pretty awesome coil spring that's adjustable in spring rate that helps us really dial people's coils in. So
usually when you're in go ahead, Jason.
Well, for sag is basically you're setting that level of pressure that you want to run in your shock area. So if you've got, I don't know what you run in your shock, but if you're running like I run like 75 or 80 pounds or 85 pounds in my fork in the front, and 180 or whatever it is, or 150 or 160 in the back. And what you do is you get on the bike and you kind of get the suspension loosened up, and you sit on the bike, and just with your body weight, you should be using a quarter to a third.
All varies. I mean, a downhill bike, you can run up anywhere from because you have 200 millimeters of travel.
Yeah.
Whereas if on your bike you have 80 millimeters, you're probably going to be at want to be around 18% sag to 20%. So there's so many different variants. So more cross-country riders prefer more, like I said earlier, a little bit stiffer of a platform. So they're going to prefer to run a less sag, and they have less suspension travel. So they can't, if they run 30% travel on their 180 bike, they're already through 15 millimeters.
You're giving up a ton of your suspension already.
Yeah.
Both from a power perspective and then also from a suspension perspective, right?
Yeah.
So I guess you answered it a little better than I did. But in order to set proper sag, Jason gave a pretty good example of that.
Let me ask you this. Do the tokens affect your sag, and what is a token?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what the heck is a token? Are we winning?
It's like a volume spacer.
Yeah, so volume spacers they're not necessarily going to affect your sag.
Okay.
They're going to affect the progressiveness of the spring rate. So tokens take up volume in that leg, so it creates more of a ramp. The more tokens you have, the faster the fork wants to ramp. They call them RockShox calls them bottomless tokens. They're just designed to create a different spring curve. It's pretty cool. If you had a dyno, you could really see like with getting to go to Olin's and some other suspension like heavy shops, they have dynos that they'll actually show you, and you can find those charts on Fox and RockShox too, as to how adding a token will change progressiveness in a fork. And that's the thing though, is like you have a 150-pound rider who doesn't ride super aggressive. They're not hitting big drops. So they sometimes might have a hard time achieving full travel with no tokens, with a really linear spring rate. But then I ride with guys who are 150 pounds who are boosting, 15 feet off of a tabletop that I'm going 5 feet off of. And when they're landing, they're using all their travel. So in order to prevent those guys from bottoming out, we can introduce those little tokens into the air spring to help give them a more progressive spring rate. And that might be something for the guy who he had made the comment too, is he may want to check that out if he's not running any tokens in his fork. That might help too. Like I said, the dead sailor, I'm imagining just means he's like getting bucked, or so like to me that just indicates that he's not getting the support out of that front fork that he needs. So like maybe a token would help him there, help into that mid stroke of his travel, keep the fork a little higher up.
Yeah, he said he was running a RockShox SID. I don't know which SID, but I'm sure characteristics of.
I'm pretty sure, you can run tokens in a SID. Yeah.
So I think you make a good point, and I want to make sure I understand. So essentially, like a lot of shocks are built with a linear progression rate, which means that when it goes down, it goes down at the same rate. Yeah. Like when the force is applied, the wheel is coming up, and there's a stroke, right? So when you're adding these spacers, you're basically introducing more of an exponential curve when it comes to how your shock works, right? So if people think about it, say you take like a syringe. I think we all did this as kids. You put your finger on the end of the syringe and you push it, and like as you push, the air is easy to compress at first, but as it gets further, your syringe gets further down, it gets really hard to push. And that's what those spacers do essentially, is it as the shock gets more compressed, it makes increases the force, right? Yeah. So when Swede's talking about these guys launching these, big drops, 10, 15-foot drops, or, a big, gap or something, they're going to put a lot more force at a fast rate. And so they need that extra resistance to push back so they don't bottom out.
Otherwise you just
right, exactly. Whereas like a cross-country racer, they're not taking big drops. They're more worried about that consistent up and down and maintaining traction and consistent contact with the ground. And so with that, they don't necessarily need those spacers unless they're very aggressive riders. Do I have that right, Swede?
Yeah, I would say you explained it better than I did. I know a lot. Well, I know some about it. But that was a good example, of how to explain how.
So what would be like? Does everybody need a token? Should everybody? When would you think about putting a token in? Like when you're just doing drops, or does it help out a cross country guy as well, or is it all rider preference?
I would say it's rider preference. And weight bias too. Do you ride more over the front of your bike? Are you more neutral, more rearward on your bike? Those type of things are going to probably affect that. Yeah. So I don't think tokens are for everyone. There's been a lot of development in like spring technology as far as air spring technology. So like I know in RockShox new forks, they used to ship their stuff with some tokens, but now they just, they're leaving that up to the customer to decide with their new dampers and air springs. Like they're getting a lot of support out of that stuff that maybe a token isn't necessary. So I mean, it's all going to be, I would say, personal preference. But and talking to the customer and getting feedback from them is going to help me, like, where do we want to go? How do we want to adjust this? I mean, we're talking tokens, but I'm a big fan of Manitou suspension and Olin's DVO. Also, those guys are all doing, instead of doing.
I was talking up the Manitou to these guys like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he was trying to sell us on the Manitou.
Yeah, why? Like, because most of us.
Before
like,
we jump into the Manitou,
yeah,
I want to ask you a question. When I'm on Pink Bike, people are always going back and forth on the coil suspension versus the air suspension. What are the benefits of either one, or is one more resilient than the other?
I run coil front and rear on my bike, so I'm running a coil in my front fork and coil in the rear. Like I said, I like squishy.
Hold on, your rear shock it's only a coil, like no air shock at all, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have more forks.
He's got more shocks and forks than you.
Okay.
Probably dirty diapers in your back. In your garbage
yeah,
that's a lot of dirty diapers.
I know it's a lot.
I have 2 kids.
My preference is coil. Just I just like the confidence I get from a coil, the suppleness that you get out of a coil over an air shock is going to be, to me, it's confidence inspiring. With our off camber wet roots, I have full confidence that my wheels are going to track exactly where I want them to go. Where on air suspension, you get a little more feedback into the hands. The wheel tends to, in my opinion, deflect a little bit off of the small bumps, where like when the roots are you run over a log that's no bark on it, that coil's just like water. It's really fluid and confidence inspiring to me. But someone who's racing cross country isn't going to want to add an extra 2.5 pounds to their bike. They're not concerned necessarily.
That's okay. That is okay. Definitely, Graham's not going to be riding a coil for sure. He's going to be a naysayer for sure on that one.
No, I actually like a couple of my good friends have coil shocks, and I like one of my buddies has like a 2019 Slash old geometry and has a coil shock on it, and it is so fun. And then put that comment back up, Aria. E-bikes. So we're like, we have a Trek store down here in Chattanooga, and so like a bunch of people are on like Trek rails, and a lot of them are upgrading to a coil shock in the back because it just, I feel like it gives a lot more. Do it on the front is what he says. No, I think that's so yeah. I don't know, Excelnity. I don't know what your name is, but we do e-bikes. I know you guys do e-bikes up there.
I'm running coil front and rear on my e-bike and on my acoustic bike.
What are you riding an e-bike? What's your e-bike?
I'm running a Rocky Mountain Altitude, but I have it swapped to Mullet, and it was an Instinct, but I swapped it out to the long travel so I could run a Fox 38 with a Vorsprung smash pod in there, and then just running a Fox DHX2 on the back of it. It's pretty sweet.
How much travel is that?
It's 170 front, 160.
Dude, you're mashing over stuff then.
Clobbering it. I mean, it's like, for me, that the Dynami 4 is really powerful in that bike. So an extra 2 pounds on a bike that's already 52 pounds is like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
The confidence that I get out of coil, it's awesome. And like I said, it's even more welcome on my my Starling that's not 55 pounds. It's still a heavier bike, but heavier bikes tend to track better, and just, in my opinion, ride a little bit like ride better.
Sure.
I prefer that feel for a bike.
So for an e-bike, like your typical, 150 to 170 travel e-bike, which are like the popular e-bikes among the big brands right now, right? Like, what is the first upgrade you would make? Like, would you do the fork first? Would you do the rear shock first? Like, what would you do?
Fork for sure, because it costs more money.
Gotcha.
No, I mean that's the thing. So I've noticed from riding acoustic bikes to an e-bike is that an e-bike is less affected by that stiction that you're getting from an air fork or shock. So it rides almost more like a dirt bike. I think I have a couple buddies on Amflows that they've made comments that maybe their Amflows don't track quite as well through fast, high-speed, chattery stuff because those bikes are a bit lighter. So, like I said, I'll take a 35-pound acoustic bike or a 55-pound e-bike just in that confidence that I have. It's nice to plow through a section of roots or off camber roots or even off camber, turns. Like my bike's stuck to the ground. I'm full tilt around corners just because I know, I'm very confident and comfortable with my equipment. So, I mean, but I don't know. Shock's affordable. The fork is more expensive. You can upgrade dampers in the fork too. That's an option that's a little more affordable. These bikes are coming with like a Zeb on it. You could throw the new RC2 damper in there, RC3, I'm sorry, in there, the new damper from them.
Hang on real quick. What's the difference between a damper and a spacer?
Damper is actually what controls, that's going to actually control
the fluid movement, like the oil movement, right?
Yeah. So, yep.
Just say it, go.
Well, the damper's going to let the fluid movement go slower or faster, whereas the spacer is how fast the air pressure builds up. Am I right?
Yeah. So token's going to affect spring rate. Your damper is going to inevitably, I guess it all affects ride characteristics, but that damper is going to affect how fast the fork is allowed to compress, how fast it's allowed to rebound. So we're utilizing the damper to control the fork through its travel. The spring rate holds you up, and the spring, coil spring or air spring, that's meant to support you. And then the damper is meant to control that spring and how it reacts to input from the trail and the rider. So,
go ahead.
No, it's a pretty important part. I know on some of the gravel stuff, I know like on Fox's gravel fork and RockShox, like you're pretty much in even the Cane Creek gravel stuff. You're pretty much just riding on an air spring. As far as I know, there's not much damping involved in those forks. So like it's just there to take the sting out. Yeah, not necessarily.
Well, you opened up another question I would ask, but since we're on the topic of e-bikes, so they're putting the Zeb on like a lot of these bikes. Are the factories setting up these forks to account for the additional weight of the e-bike, or is that something that like we need to look out for? Like if I buy a rail or I buy like a Heckler or something, do I need to have the shop take a look at that and make sure that it's set up correctly, or are these bikes like set up to handle the weight of the additional motor and battery?
So the OEs work with those companies like RockShox and Fox. Mostly those are your two big brands. Like the OEs are all working with those companies, and those forks are going to be tuned mostly like specifically for those bikes. That's where you see like Trek and Specialized run, and Scott all run like special. Most manufacturers actually will have a shock tuned for their bike. So like Foxes, the 36, and I think the E-rated 36 and the E-rated 34 run a thicker stanchion, so the upper tubes are a bit thicker, so there's less flex, it's more stable on a heavier bike, and then so you're running different air springs and stuff like that. Just from working on the stuff and buying the wrong air springs, I've learned that there's some differences. And then we're starting to see as well too, some manufacturers are requesting like inch and a quarter to inch 1.5 as a standard steer tube. Now we're seeing inch and a half to 1.8 to add stiffness for the that added extra weight we're riding these bikes pretty aggressively, so, like hard. So
right, that's the thing.
It's pretty annoying when you're working on something and you just assume it's going to be a 1.5 because that's what steers have been for the last 10 years or 8 years, and then you buy headset parts and they're the wrong ones. But yeah, we're learning.
Didn't run into that at all.
Yeah. it just I mean, I don't know. I can see it for big guys, 250-pound guys, 300-pound guys on e-bikes. I mean, I can see that, but
makes sense.
Hey, Graham, have you ever ridden an e-mountain bike in the woods at all?
So no, I've ever ridden a flat bar e-mountain bike. The only e-mountain bike that I ride is
it's got that tributary.
Yeah. So that's a drop bar. But
how much trouble do you have on that thing anyway? I forget.
I got 120 on the front.
120.
Yeah.
Okay.
But dude, I bashed the shit out of that bike. I'll ride it over anything.
That's
but
one of the coolest bikes out there.
But no, I mean, Jason, like I similar to where I think you guys live. I don't know your trail systems at all, but I really would like to have an e-mountain bike because I mean, I have 30 to 40 minute climbs everywhere around me. And it's nice to be able to crush right up those. And I could do that on the tributary. I just can't go back down. Because I can't take those drops on a drop bar.
I told you guys before I tried that salsa notch a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was kind of small for me. It really wasn't set up that great for me and stuff. So I had some challenges, but I tell you what, I could really get into riding a good setup e-mountain bike through some of this stuff. It would be like riding a pedal motorcycle. I mean,
the thing is though, is like people hate on e-mountain bikes because they're like, oh well, I'm just not going to work. My zone 2 rides, I love zone 2 rides on my e-bike because I can put out the same power or keep my heart rate where it needs to be and then cover so much more distance. And the other argument I'll make is that the uphill trails become like flats.
Yeah.
Like you're ripping berms uphill sometimes.
Yeah.
And there is nothing more fun than doing a berm uphill because you're not gonna like launch yourself off into the woods and hit a tree. Like you're gonna have some fun with it. So like I'll never listen to anyone that rips on e-bikes. I think the accessibility and then like what it does for your ride experience is incredible. Now there is a point to be made around trails and what they do to trails because bad riders hurt trails with e-bikes, but that's a whole nother thing.
I tell you what, I've probably heard a dozen people in the shop saying that they ride much harder and get just as good a workout on their e-bike because they're out there just getting after it for even that much longer.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It allows you to stay out longer. So, for example, I did a trip with a couple guys to Colorado in Gateway, really like old school mountain biking. Well, first mistake, I had a cross-country bike, and everybody had at least 140 and above, and they all had e-bikes. So we were pedaling 12 miles, like serious 6 to 8%, and then doing our downhill runs. but I was only able to do 2 rounds because we were like 6,000 feet or something, and I was coming from Iowa. So I was like, my day was done at midday, and they kept going until like 3:30. So in that case, the e-bikes were allowed. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. It extends your ride time, because I was pegged, and like the next day I could only do like 1 run. So definitely when I go back, 150, 160, 170 with the DJI Amflow motor on there.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
I mean, my last e-bike ride, I think my max heart rate was 184, and
Exactly.
it was a zone 3 ride. Like, I was in like threshold on that ride for, I don't know, a good part of it. So, and I mean, I'm chasing guys on Amflows, and it's a lot of fun for me. Like, unfortunately, I don't get to ride nearly as much as I used to, and I have a 2-year-old at home. So, the fact that I can jump on that thing and go escape and enjoy myself, whether I push myself or not, I'm still having fun. I'm still on 2 wheels. Whereas if I take my acoustic bike, it's just a sufferfest the whole time, which is probably what I need. I need that. But at this point, riding my bike once or twice a week, because I don't ride a trainer, just really don't make time, I guess. But the fact that I can go out and just feel like I'm 20 again is pretty awesome.
No, I 100% agree. I got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so it's the same thing. It's like I don't get to ride on the weekends anymore. I like ride when I have some time, and if I can cover 40 miles in the time I can cover 25 miles, like why not?
Yeah.
Why not go do that?
Absolutely.
So
you're still, and you're still getting a workout, man. You're spinning your legs. That upper body on the e-bike
exactly
gets worked pretty good, and like the extra 20 pounds of bike we're throwing around is
especially if you're doing actual mountain biking, right? Like it's not like you're just pushing the switch and just going uphill.
Hot take. I think I've said this before, maybe not live, but I am really considering putting a pair of power pedals on my tributary back here. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking, because like I can do a zone 2 ride and go explore, but like I could do it with my heart rate. But the problem is when you're on the e-bike, the technical load that it puts on you, because you're riding so much faster and encountering features on the trail at a much higher speed than you're used to, like jacks my heart rate. So I would really like to be able to do my like zone 2 rides and like on my e-bike and know what the power is. And so I think I'm gonna get a pair of power pedals for myself for Christmas.
Jason will get you that shop discount. You don't have to pay full price for that stuff.
Yeah, I asked him about a bike, and he told me he was going to charge me double.
You know what I
see? He keeps that in his pocket.
I took some power pedals off of a guy's road bike today while I was servicing it, so I'll just send you those. And
do that. Sorry, we lost.
Hey, I like you guys, but I don't want to go to jail for you guys, taking people's power pedals.
Oh, he's cool, man. He's cool. He'll get
so funny.
He doesn't need them.
Nah, his next bike will have a power meter.
He's the guy that got 6th in the Dirty Dozen this year, so
okay.
Yeah,
he knows what power he can do in his sleep.
Yeah. Dude's insane, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Sweet. So I wanted to ask you a question. Back to suspension. What are your thoughts on like flight attendant and what is it? Live valve?
That was going to be my question. Yeah, flight attendant.
Yeah, like I've ridden around the parking lot and on like a couple just like quick rides, flight attendant only. But what are your thoughts on that? Like, I mean, you think it's like where everything's going to go, or do you think it's a fad?
I don't think it's a fad.
I hear about this answer.
I don't think it's a fad. I think it's those aids are going to be here. I mean, you see it at the top level, and I mean, honestly, I feel like that's where it's. I mean, you can see the downhill guys are running flight attendant, and Olin's has, special stuff on their bikes. So I'd say it's probably going to eventually trickle down. I mean, but so I personally don't want more batteries on my bike.
Yeah.
Like I have, batteries on my bike already. And honestly, the complexity of suspension now, it just, in my opinion, it adds a little more complexity as far as like, I'm not very computer illiterate or, like very good with a computer. So when I sit down and have to program someone's flight attendant for them, over time and practice, I'm sure that would get easier. But to me, it adds a little bit of complexity to ownership. Some people are going to probably be super excited and geek out about it and enjoy it a lot. But I know for me, it's not technology that I personally am pursuing. Like I said, I have coils on my bike. I'd much rather be more. I ride a Starling with a single pivot, like 2 bearings in the bike in the frame. So I'm trying to be more simplistic in my choices for the stuff that I'm running on my bike. But I think it's a great thing for some people, for racers. If you're a cross country racer, enduro racer, the ability to not have to think about pushing a switch or turning your lockout on or off. I think that's a valuable thing, especially maybe even more in endurance races where people are fatigued and they're starting to get tired and lazy and don't want to push a button or flip a switch. So that stuff will just work for them.
Sometimes you forget to put your dropper up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you forget to put the dropper down.
Listen, the whole time you're talking Swede, all I can think about is like I want to rename you and Jason to Thoreau and Emerson over here. Just like back to the basics, like no tech, like
it's gonna come around, man. It's good. It's good, but then too is if it fails, then
expensive fix, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like those systems, definitely. I think they almost double the cost of a suspension component. If you can afford it and that's your thing, then heck yeah, try it out, use it. Maintenance on it is pretty similar to anything else. So for me as a mechanic, I don't mind it. It's a couple little screws, to take off that actuator on the top or on the shock or fork. But I mean, personally for me, it's unless if someone gave it to me, I might ride it. But for me, it's not. It's. I don't really think about it when I'm riding my bike to begin with. That's why I run coils. It feels really similar every time I get on it, and that's how I like it.
I'm curious, because you were talking about it being big in the downhill scene and stuff like that. I'm very surprised that we're nerdy gravel racers, so that there have not been gravel forks with flight attendant on it.
Yes,
in my mind,
wait till next year.
You're damping there's no damping in a gravel fork though. Like your bike has a mountain bike fork on it, your tributary.
Yeah. Whereas
if like Fox's, I forget what it is. It's a 32. I'm not 100% sure. Is it the XPLR fork from?
Tramp? Yeah.
And even I could be incorrect about it, but as far as I know, like we sold a lady the new Cane Creek inverted fork, super light and awesome. But
nice.
Yeah, no damping. You're riding on an just on a spring,
right.
So you're not necessarily looking for damping performance out of your suspension on a gravel race bike. If you're running, I don't know, are guys running suspension forks?
Well, they are, and I guess my question would be okay, in current state, maybe most of the gravel forks are 80 mils, maybe 100 at the biggest side of things. But if you could integrate in something like flight attendant where you really have good lockout, and you could maybe find a way around the weight penalty around the stanchion diameter and like the width of the metal and things like that, why wouldn't you run a 120 or like a 130 fork on a gravel bike and then have the ability to like truly lock it out, but then also have that suspension, because gravel races are getting more diverse, I would say, like where you're riding single track hard, like maybe harder core stuff, and then also road stuff.
Well, yeah. How much? So a SID, you can get a SID with 100 millimeters of travel, and how much is the weight difference between a SID and say that Cane Creek?
It's probably
Yeah,
like
let me
200
see.
grams.
Yeah,
No,
like,
it's
like
not,
nothing.
man. It's not.
Is it not? I don't
No,
know.
it's- I mean, a SID, what's a SID? 1,500 grams on a
Okay.
SID.
And what's
See if we can find the info on this guy.
I'm guessing like 900, 950. So
A SID versus a what?
versus say
See lots of the Cane Creek.
the Cane Creek? It's just because Aria's got it up. What's the Cane Creek weighing in at, Aria?
I'm trying to see here.
I'd say that's your biggest thing though, is weight. Like people are gonna be deterred by the weight.
990 grams.
So 1,000 grams. So you're talking 3/4 of a pound, but you can lock out the SID.
Right.
If you want to lock out, it's 1100. Because they
From
have
Cane-
this seed, from Cane Creek.
The Cane Creek has a lockout at 1,100. So you're down
They
to
got two.
you're
Yeah,
down
they
to
got
half a
one that
pound.
doesn't lock
So
out and one
200
that has lock.
grams. 200 grams.
So you're down to half a
200 gram
pound of difference. Dude, I'd get the SID.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get the SID.
Yeah, at that point, yeah.
And
You
then
get damping. You get
yeah, exactly. But to Sweet's point, does the
Excellent.
damping actually come into play when you're talking about all those micro adjustments and
And
things
the-
like that? Like, does
and
it?
and the SID too. You're getting tire clearance.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, and I don't know what the
building-
clearance
you
is on the
Scratch or did you buy this bike off the showroom floor? That's like cost to lace a front wheel to go into your SID to fork that's going to run your axle standard, on your gravel bike.
True.
But now, I mean, you're just turning your gravel bike into a hardtail mountain bike. So
I know, right? That's the real thing. It's like we're all just like,
sounds like you
riding
guys just need to start riding hardtail
bikes.
Which
mountain bikes.
which is probably where they're going. I mean,
The
Aria's
technology's
riding
getting there.
a
Full suspension.
hardtail mountain bike gravel racer. Really?
Or-
You say
Aria's
you're on
riding,
full
like,
suspension?
Yeah, he's on one of those
Full suspension.
checkouts.
checkouts.
Oh, okay. Is it a niner?
It's a checkout. It's a 29er 2.2.
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
tire clearance? 2.1, 2.2?
yeah, I can go up to 2.2, I believe. For tire, 2.2.
So what about wheels, man? You guys want to talk about wheels?
That's another.
Nah,
That's
nah,
another
nah.
podcast.
That would be
Sweet,
another
I
episode.
definitely want to have you back on this week.
It's an
because,
important
like,
part of your suspension, though. Like that's what I mean. Every
I know,
stuff
man.
all plays into it. That's where I want to get. That's where I want to bring the shop to and myself to, is just like you buy a bike from us, man. We're gonna tune everything from your tire pressures, your spoke tension, into your suspension, like, and then Ashley's gonna fit you for your bike. Like, that's where I'm really hoping our shop can go. And like, we don't have anything like that around us. Is just
Dude, no one has that. Like, that is so
No.
cool to hear. I mean, I really am very impressed. And too bad you guys are in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. No, I'm giving you a hard time, but no, I'm serious, y'all. Like, I mean, if you like what Sweet's saying is like, so few shops give that level of service. Maybe some of the downhill shops like out there in the West Coast, but super cool. And like, I was holding myself back so much to ask about tire pressure and its relationship to suspension and how it all works. So I'm glad I didn't
Do that.
ask that, but we need to bring you back on, man.
That's
And-
first.
Yeah,
man.
we would I want to definitely. Yeah, we should do the tire, the wheel setup. I feel like that would be really good. Be a good
Yeah.
follow up for our listeners.
We need
Yeah,
to
that's-
bring
Have
them
you
on with the real
opportunity to
bike.
try out
and
any
let's-
bird wheels yet?
Yeah,
I love
Yvonne,
bird wheels.
his
Yeah.
Yvonne,
Yeah, my
Maria's
wife's got him on her mountain bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why does she have them and you don't?
Hey, you know,
money.
only the best.
It's 'cause-
Only the best for the wife. Only the best for the wife.
He
Yeah,
spends
yeah.
an hour and a half every week on a podcast with two idiots. So
Correct.
that's like his payment
Yeah.
for.
I'm
I
like,
mean, I'd be, I don't know, I'd be stoked to try a set of their wheels out just to see how they feel. I've had some experience on the Zip Motos and that single ply, like what they call it, ankle flex technology and stuff, and it was noticeable for sure. It was pretty cool. But yeah.
Well, we should
definitely.
take an episode and then have Sweet rank the best wheel sets for off-road and on-road riding, and then we can.
Do we have time for one more suspension?
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because I gotta look up Graham's crash because we gotta show the people before we go.
Oh yeah,
We
I gotta find that. I think
we looked
Zoran
at-
sent it to me.
we looked at the inverted forks there, and I know motocross went to inverted forks a long time ago. Why hasn't it really taken off yet for mountain?
Yes.
I think we're seeing it come back. I mean, I'm running. I got a Manitou Dorado that's inverted. The Fox Podium, the Push's new fork is. There was some maybe some leaked footage that Cane Creek was going to release a mountain bike.
Does Yvonne
inverted.
still have her Ren? Does Ren?
Yes, she still has her in. Yeah.
The is that the RockShox?
No.
Oh, the
no,
Ren.
that's
priority.
Yeah.
That's a priority one, and that's also an invert. And she likes
Intend
it.
also makes inverted suspension forks. Intend.
Yeah.
They make them. I mean, it's a bummer. There's so many good suspension companies out there that just the marketing that Fox and RockShox have. It's a bummer because everyone's on RockShox or Fox because that's what the OEs are speccing and that's what's blasted in your face all the time. I would like to see. I love my Manitou stuff.
I was talking up the Manitou to these guys.
Yeah. And I mean, the cool part with it is you buy one of their forks. It's not only is it lightweight, but it, in my opinion, offers more rigidity and stiffness, not necessarily rigidity, but
versatility.
yeah. I mean, I love those forks to sell customers just because you're making that $1,000 investment into a suspension fork. And then next year, 2 years down the road, you get a bike that's short travel or longer travel. And Manitou allows you to, without any cost of buying a new part or anything like that, just to swap that travel. I mean, I'm swapping my Mezzer back and forth from 150 to 180 travel or 170 travel.
See, Aria, this is what we need. This is your next bike. We need to get you a bike that we can. And this is what we were just talking about today. If we could get you to come in to get a bike, and we can set your bike up that you can, with just swapping a fork, you could be a cross-country racer one weekend, and you can be a gravity downhiller the next weekend.
Oh,
I need the arm flow, that's for sure.
yeah. You want a heavier fork. Well, how much do you weigh, man?
190.
Okay, yeah. I'd put a RX. I'd go Olin's on that thing. Or a Mezzer, yeah. But those guys offer some pretty awesome stuff.
Aria's ready for a new mountain bike. I know this mountain bike now. He's
I mean, you might want to hold off. There's going to be
the best mountain bikes ever made.
The Amphla.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you guys have read about them. I mean, like I said, from what we've been hearing is. It's outdated bike geo, maybe not the best design bike, but their motors rip. It's scary. Like, yeah, the guys I ride with used to be and boost ludicrous all the time. Now they'll ride those bikes in trail mode because they're too fast on the trails.
Yeah.
Right, 800 watts. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but.
What about that new? Are you stepped away? But the DJI motor.
Yeah,
that's
the
Amflow.
Yeah.
Amflow. Yeah, those are crazy.
It's
Yeah.
going to be in
Yeah.
a bunch of other bikes next year. I think it's going to be. I think Commensal.
Yeah, and I think Mondraker's
Yeah,
bike's
Mondraker,
out. There's a
Uno.
couple reviews out now.
Yeah.
That just came to the States.
Are those guys Bontrager, are they switching to the DJI motor?
Moondraker.
Mondraker.
Oh,
yeah.
Not
okay.
Bontrager.
probably.
Okay,
I
I was
mean,
like, whoa. Okay.
No.
All right.
but
Trek-
it's gonna
Trek-
it's just gonna push everyone else. Like Bosch will have something out.
Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna just set back and let so
Let everybody eat their cake, eat their lunch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we should have you back for a real conversation. We would like to kind of complete this, make it a whole, series. Yeah. So we really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Shall we shut it down, guys?
I think so.
I told him 3 hours.
Before we do,
You said you guys would be good for 3 hours.
We can't afford to pay you for 3 hours.
Yeah. No.
I'm only halfway through this beer.
Well, you talk too much.
Yeah.
we can't. Yeah, the budget's still a little lean right now.
We should try and get.
By the way, so this is our resident.
Do a video of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you hear that, Aria?
Huh?
You guys come to the shop. When you buy your bikes, you'll come to the shop. We'll fit you. We'll put you on the bike. We'll do the suspension setup. We'll take you up on the mountain and do telemetry to get your.
I need pods, the whole thing.
We need to document it though, so that we can utilize it for marketing.
Yeah,
yeah.
Definitely do it.
Yeah,
likes and subscribes the whole way.
Definitely, yeah. I'm down for it. Let's watch one of our hosts here. I'm not gonna name names, guys. Just somebody.
What year is this?
I'm not gonna name names here. I'm just gonna
drop bars.
Oh, what?
Drop bars. What happens here?
Push the front a little bit there.
That root. No. That's what you were talking about. That's what took him out.
No, I pedal struck a rock.
Oh, is that what happened?
It is.
Like, it looks like
you're again.
Watch. Go back.
Where'd you guys find?
Boom.
Yeah, that was
right
a pedal.
It
was a pedal strike on either a root or a stump or something.
Yeah, you know what the worst part
there was
was?
a little root there.
Do you know what happened in that crash right there? Innocuous crash. I broke my frame.
What?
I broke my chainstay
on that
crash. Yeah, I don't know if it landed on a rock or what it landed on, but I broke my chainstay.
You want to tell us what bike that was?
It was a Obed GVR.
Obed.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
dude!
Don't crash.
At
your
least you
Obed.
didn't break your collarbone now.
I did that this year, so it's all good.
Oh yeah. You paid the pipe later.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. I've
shoot.
My
goodness. Yeah. All right, guys, we better shut it down. Sweet,
yeah. Hey,
man. We appreciate you showing up. We appreciate it.
Super awesome chat. Like, people, if you had questions, you didn't know how to ask them, or you watch this later and you have questions, drop them in the comments.
What's your suspension tag? You got to do your suspension tag. FT tuned?
Is that what it is?
I don't know. Is it?
FT tuned, I think, is what we tagged the. Yeah.
Is that on Instagram or Twitter or
JSwede69, service by Swede? No, so I am running the telemetry out of my own LLC just to help with some costs there. But
if you want to send us the link and stuff, we'll put it in the show notes. That way,
we haven't got there. We haven't got that far yet. 2-year-old and trying to cram my brain with learning all the ins and outs of every suspension manufacturer, and so it's been put on the back burner. But I'm really hoping to utilize that this year and help me, push my knowledge and ability to answer questions and help people out. So just helping you get the most out of your money with that suspension is all.
Yeah. We'll do it the old school way. Flat Tire Bike Company
there you go.
Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
Yes,
booming
sir.
Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Give them a
sir.
shout. Bring your bike
Sweet the
in.
man.
I love my shop down here, but I think I'm gonna have to bring my bikes up there and have you guys do some
Get 'em
magic with them.
fine-tuned.
But
Tear it
He-
apart.
Yeah.
He works on the suspension, and I get to work on the Amyets.
yeah. You stick with your Huffies and Schwinn's.
Seniority, man. It's just I'm just
Got
All
lucky.
those good things.
I got
Lucky I got there before he
The
did.
Amyet
so-
today.
Oh
The
man,
Amyet.
it is what it is. That's a whole nother discussion.
Don't
man.
ever buy
That's-
an Amyet.
Awesome. Hey, well, thank you
If,
to
if
everyone.
you want a
that-
bike to be safe,
Yeah, thank you to everyone that tuned in. Appreciate our sponsors. Awesome to see representation from one of them with the Flat Tire Bike Company. But yeah, as always, y'all DM us on Instagram. Hit us up in comments. Like, we want to know what you guys want to hear about. So let us know what you guys want to talk about. Otherwise, we'll keep shooting in the dark and coming up with cool episodes like this. So I guess with that,
thanks for having us. Love
Yeah.
talking bikes with you.
Peace out.
let's
Thanks,
shut it
guys.
down. Thanks.
Thank you all for listening and watching all the way to the end.